a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10-by-7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, la, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. Singing, hey, hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Fuck.
All right, put down your pens, put down your pencils, step away from the keyboard, and settle in for this week's episode of the Writer's Block. First and foremost, allow me to thank Don and Sally Wright for giving birth to me, because without them, none of this would be possible. Also, thank you to Grassroots Kava House for the kava that I drink on this and every episode of the Writer's Block. To all above, Bulavanaka. Also thanks to Matt Johnston, also known as the Narcissist Cookbook, for letting me use his music at the beginning and the end of every episode of the Writer's Block. The name of that song is The Good Ship You. You should check out his album Moth. It's fantastic. Also on YouTube, he has a completely legal reading of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which I have fallen asleep to numerous times, so I definitely recommend it. Today, I would like to welcome on my good buddy, Tyler 420, the host of the Super Effin' Dope podcast. Man, trying to say that without doing black voice is really, really difficult.
You don't want to be the next AOC, man. They're going to compare you. You don't want that.
I was practicing that in my head. I was like, don't say it in black voice. Tyler 420.
What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Excellent. So, you've seen a couple of my episodes, I'm assuming.
Where am I? Whose podcast am I on again?
This is the Writer's Block, part of
yeah,
Buddy.
I've seen a couple.
Cool. So I always kind of started out, and I'm always asking people, how is it that you how you got into being a libertarian? I know you're not an anarchist; you're a minarchist.
I am not an anarchist because they're fucking crazy.
And with that, my co-host for the Muddied Waters of Freedom is ready to call in. So how did you, how is it that you found libertarianism, and how did you become, a libertarian, minarchist?
So I just got into politics in the last 3 years. I wasn't in politics for any part of it. I thought it was fucking stupid. I thought too many people argued when they were in it. And I was like, that's dumb. And then my uncle was like, bro, don't you think you should have a fucking opinion on the country you live in? And I was like, I probably should. Yeah. And then obviously the first thing that I'm looking at is the Democrats, right? Because that's where my people are.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, that must be where I'm supposed to go. And when I was looking at it and putting it side by side with Republicans and libertarians and Tea Party members and everything, when I looked at it, I was like, yo, Democrats are the worst. They're fucking liars. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm definitely not a Democrat. And libertarian, man, when I looked into it, like freedom to me, it should be above all. Liberty above all. That is what is fair. Like people shouldn't be asking for constant fucking handouts. And when I was looking at that, I was like, that makes sense. I'm totally down with that. Though I would say that just personally, I'm a little bit more on the conservative side.
Okay. That's weird. I just got a message from somebody saying that I don't have this streaming on the right page. Oops.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they said.
I shared this shit. Let me see.
That's weird. It says that I am streaming on that site. Let's turn that off and turn that back on. See what happens. Anyway, as long as it's on YouTube, that's all I really give a shit about. There it is. Cool. So, sorry about that. I was just like, wait, what? I don't have that on? That's not right. Yeah, so when I was growing up, I grew up in a pretty right-wing household because, I look like this. And my parents were very Reagan heavy, loved Bush, hated Clinton, anything Republican bad, anything Republican good, anything Democrat bad. And as I got older, I started going, yeah, but are gays really bad? And then I got arrested. And then I got arrested for possession of marijuana when I was like 19. And I was like, can they really tell me what to do with my body?
Right.
And then suddenly I was like, wait a minute. Why are you telling me what I can't? Like, that's where everything started stemming from. And that was how I kind of grew into all of that. So
I get into a lot of these debates, especially because a lot of libertarians that I come across are, when we're not talking about see, here's the problem that I have with fucking fellow libertarians. They piss me the fuck off. Like, the problem that I have is that they always want to revert back to the government talk. They always want to bring into the government about how the government is evil, bad, whatever. Sure, we already agree on that. We already agree government bad, right?
Right.
But when we're talking about certain social issues, say we're talking about transgenderism or gays, like you just brought up, or things like that, we're not talking about their rights. I'm just talking about your own sense of morality, what you prefer, what lifestyle choices do you want. I found that most libertarians, at least that I come into contact with, man, are liberal as fuck. Which is fine, but it definitely makes me more of an outsider because I'm like, look, I believe that, gays should be able to fucking be married. You should be able to marry whoever you want. Really, the state probably shouldn't be involved in it anyway, but
Right.
You should be able to marry who you want to marry, be able to do all that stuff, love who you want. But be very clear, I still personally believe that, men should, be with women and women should be with men. I believe that biologically we're here to procreate. You can't do that with women and women, men with men. So that's just kind of my own morality. I'm like, men should be with women, but I still support everyone's right to do them.
Right. And that's, I was raised in a really Christian household, and I'm not like, I don't really believe anything anymore, but
I believe nothing.
Basically, like, I'm like, yeah, we're born. Some of us live, others of us don't. They do really boring stuff, and then we die, and something may happen. I don't know, because I have no clue. But
Right.
I was raised in the traditional Judeo-Christian. Homosexuality is a sin. You are the first person to do that on this show, and that's just awesome.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But I was raised in the Judeo-Christian kind of sensibilities that homosexuality is sin, and yes, we are. I believe that we are here to procreate. I think that is why they made being gay a sin, because at the time they had to make sure that the human race would be able to thrive, and if you're hooking up with dudes and you're a dude, you can't. Like, you have
Right.
to be able to procreate. So I think that's kind of why they ended up making being gay a sin in the Bible, and now it's just kind of held over, even though we're 7 billion.
So you think it was more so not said to by God, but more like man took over and was like, look, we should make this. But you think they did it for what they believe were the right reasons, because they're like, well, we need to further humankind.
That's what I think.
Okay, that actually makes kind of sense. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, that I started thinking that not a couple of years ago, and I was like, because you couldn't eat pork because they didn't know how to cook it, and it would kill you. You couldn't eat seafood. a lot of the things that were considered sins back then, I believe were done because they didn't want you to die off. And I kind of agree. I kind of believe
Which is interesting because back then, I mean, you could whip and beat your fucking slaves and those motherfuckers were dying.
Right. I mean,
so it's interesting.
Right. It's just that's kind of how I feel about a lot of those laws or a lot of those sins or rules that the Christians have to follow. And being gay, I was just like, to me, being gay is as much of a sin as eating pork is a sin.
Okay.
And to me, it's not. Like I'm not gay. Like I'm not attracted to guys. Nothing wrong with it. Don't care. But
just not your thing.
It's not my thing.
Exactly. Same.
Right. You know,
one thing that I say about Christians though, which is weird, and I always love coming across Christian. You know, I had a debate with an anarchist. We had like a minarchist and anarchist debate on my podcast. Right. And he actually, the anarchist, is also a Christian. And he was talking about it. He was like, I'm like an anomaly. So I'm like some people would say that they're like incompatible. You can't be an anarchist and also be a Christian. But he broke the shit down to me. And why he could, he's definitely more practical. But there are some radical fucking Christians out there, bro. And like, just the shit that they talk about is just fucking daft and batshit, man. Yeah. Like it's really insane. And my thing is that, okay, if you are going to follow the Bible, let's say, right? You're going to follow the Bible. Okay. You can't just pick and choose any fucking thing that you want and say, okay, well, we're going to follow, that gayism is a sin, but we're not going to say that shaving your beard anymore is a sin. You know what I mean? Like you can shave your beard. That's more modern. You can't pick and choose that shit. Right. If you're going to follow the Bible, you got to follow that shit to a fucking T, man.
Right. And I mean, if it was a sin for me to, shave my beard, like I look awful with a beard because it grows in all patchy and like I was not meant to have one. So
you have what we like to call the Wonder Bread beard. See, the Wonder Bread beard, it grows in spots and it's patchy. It's not like a full, for lack of a better term, man beard. But that's okay. My best friend is white as shit, and I was always like, yo, bro, like why don't you just grow a fucking beard? And it's like, bro, I got that Wonder Bread beard. I can't grow that shit. I can barely grow this and this. It's like that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, like this and this. I haven't shaved this part in like 3 weeks, and that's what
really?
Yeah, this is what I have right now. So like this goatee area, this is 3 weeks worth of growth.
Wow, that's crazy.
So my co-host Spike Cohen, my co-host for Muddy Waters of Freedom, Spike Cohen says Jesus was an anarchist, which I absolutely 100% believe Jesus was an anarchist. And although that whole give to Caesar thing makes that kind of questionable, but I do believe he was somewhat of an anarchist. And he also says libertarianism attracts social liberals for the same reason it attracts some people on the alt-right. We're fine with you doing whatever as long as you leave others alone. Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. My only thing is, so like on my podcast specifically, like I like to get in more into the like the more triggering topics, right? I like triggering shit. I like to talk about those. Like, it's not that I don't care about like foreign policies and stuff like that. I think it's important. I think we should discuss it, but I think more people are just so irrational when they talk about social issues and when they talk about just basic things that I'm just like, well, let's just break that shit down. Let's talk about that. And just so many people are just unwilling to have rational debates on like social issues. You know what I mean? And I don't get it. I don't understand it. Dude, when I put out this thing about, I was talking about transgenderism. I always get shit when I talk about transgenderism. Right. And I have to preface it and I have to say, look, I'm cool with people. If dude want to chop off his nuts and turn it into something else, hey, you can totally do that 100%. Someone is willing to accept that. Awesome. But in no way, shape, or fucking form are you going to convince me that I need to use the pronouns that you want me to fucking use. In no way are you going to tell me that biological men should be competing in biological women's sports, right? In no way are you going to tell me that fucking a transgender man is able to accept a women's only award. You know what I'm saying? Like right. It's like, to me, it's just fucking crazy. But people are unwilling to talk about that, or they'll say that I'm a Republican because I think that way.
True. Like, I understand that. So one of the ones that I have actually, like, I do think it's insane. I don't know the guy's name, but there's the rapper who won the, he decided to change genders for one day and got the
What?
Yeah, he changed.
I didn't even hear about that. What the hell?
Yeah, so he was like, he decided to compete in a women's deadlift competition, and he destroyed the world record for women. And
Of course
then
he did.
And then he went back to identifying as a male.
So he destroyed the record, dropped the mic, and then just went back over.
Yeah, and
Yo.
like I see this as kind of a future that's going to happen. Is you're gonna like because you got high school kids. You have high school kids who are coming out and saying that they're transgender, and then they're destroying people in track. I know that there are two in Louisiana, I believe, that are doing that right now.
Connecticut.
Connecticut, and the Texas wrestler.
Is that the girl who's competing with boys? Who is that?
I thought that was a guy that was competing with girls.
It could be. I mean, it makes sense if they are.
Well,
So.
a person who was born male competing with girls. And but the one like, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Like if you want to put yourself out of competition, that's fine. Like do it. But the one thing that I kind of question is the bathroom laws. And
What do you question?
okay, so people are always saying, well, you know, if you're they aren't looking under the stalls to see what you have. Why are you looking under the stalls to see what they have? Right?
You're not looking on the stalls? Like, I thought everyone did that. I look under the stalls. No, just playing.
No, so, and like, that's the argument. It's like, why are you looking under the stalls? To find out if that woman is.
Okay, so you're saying that you're more on the, everyone should be able to use whatever bathroom. That's what you're saying.
See, and this is where it starts getting a little convoluted, because I don't want some dude to just be like, oh yeah, I identify as a female, to walk into a bathroom and then kidnap some girl.
Right, of course.
And you don't, but at the same time, like if somebody is legitimately transgender.
But we can't really know that.
Exactly.
We can't really know that. So that's why.
And that's where I have my issue with these laws, is because we can't really know that.
No, that's true, and that definitely is a conundrum, man. Like it's hard to do that. When it comes to the bathroom laws, I mean, that's just, again, my own sense of morality and just being a little bit more conservative. I believe that men should use the fucking men's bathroom, women should use the women. But again, I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, unless this guy is peeing in the urinal next to me, I don't really know that shit. Right. You know what I mean? So, but I also believe that if a business, you know, obviously government shouldn't be in charge of it anyway. The business should be able to say whether or not they choose to do it or choose not to. I saw this one. I was going to do a video on it, but I never did. There's this one guy that I came across, and he was in like some legal battle because he's a cake maker, and he didn't want to make a cake for a gay couple. He was the owner of the shop. He was there, and he's like, I don't, you know, that's not really my belief. I'm not really going to support that, and whatever. Dude, these fucking two liberals took this shit to court. They took it to everywhere, and they're like, no, you have to force him to make me my cake. And I'm sitting here like, first of all, that's his fucking business. See, if he doesn't want to do it, right, and his clientele falls down because he comes out as, you know, prejudiced, then that's his own thing. The free market's going to take care of it anyway, right? But also on the flip side, if you do force him to make your cake, do you really want him making your cake?
How good of a cake is that gonna be? Like that was the whole like the Colorado guy that was like, no, I'm not gonna make a gay wedding cake. You know, they could have gone to any cake baker, but instead any cake baker. And then the dude got hit recently. The same dude got hit because they wanted him to make a transgender coming out cake.
Really?
Yeah, and he was like, "No, I'm not going to make it." Like, if you had told me you wanted a pink and blue frosted cake that was pink on the inside or whatever, I don't know which way that they were transitioning.
Yeah, what exactly is a transgender cake? What does that mean?
It means that
you just put transgender on it, I guess.
No, it's like they were revealing to their parents or something, or to their friends, that they were transgender. So it was like going to be like a blue cake, and then when you cut into it, it was pink, to be like, "Hey, look, no, I'm going to be." That's who I am on the inside, or something along those lines. And they told him that's what it was for. And he said, well, no, I'm not going to make that. If they had just said, we want a cake that has pink on the inside and blue on the outside, he would have done it. But when they told him what it was for, he was like, well, no, that goes against my values. I'm not going to do it. And so they're suing him again. Like,
It's crazy, dude.
Just let the guy run his business and go somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, and that is true too. Like if you just look at it like strategically, like when you look at it, there may be more and more influx of I'm just gonna call it gayism. I don't know if that's a real word, but I'm making that word for real. I'm hashtagging that shit. So if you make the influx in gayism and transgenderism and all that stuff. But when I looked it up, it's still only like 5% of the population. So most of the population isn't like that. So strategically, if I was transgender or doing something really like that, I would, I'd go in there and I'd be like, yeah, I need a blue cake on the whatever or pink cake and whatever. And then they would just give me my fucking cake. You know what I mean? So, but when you get into, no, I'm making it for this and you're going to accept what I'm making it for. No, bitch, I'm not. I don't have to. It's my business. I'm
not doing that.
Right.
Jason Lyon just posted, thankfully that court case was recently dropped, which is good.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And in response to what is a transgender coming out cake or whatever, Eric Damewood said, it's a cake, but tastes like pie. Normally I don't say
is it poontang pie? Does it taste like poontang?
Normally I don't say Eric's jokes on the air, but that one was really good. So you obviously are quite the advocate for cannabis.
Yeah. I am.
Yeah, just a little bit of the advocate for the cannabis. Tyler 420, smoking weed on the air, like, don't. That's fair.
Yo, this has never been done before.
It really, there was we had somebody call in on one of our shows, and I think he was hitting like his hookah, and I was like, "Are you hitting a bong right now?" And he goes, "No, it's my hookah." I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I wouldn't care. It was just I was like,
right.
I just need to know what I'm here for. But so you are currently in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's a Commonwealth. Yeah, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's not legal there yet, right?
Okay, so they decriminalized it in Philly.
Okay.
Not in the county, but they decriminalized it in Philly. You can get caught up with an ounce, you get a fine. You can, like, there are literally people that are just smoking joints on corners now because if a cop comes up to them, they're just like, okay, this is like a whatever fine. But yeah, so they decriminalized it in Philly, and they just made it medicinal in the state of Pennsylvania also.
Okay.
Just recently. So they're on the right track to making it recreational.
Right. Yeah. So here in Florida, it's not decriminalized yet. Depending on which county you're in. I have friends who are police officers in different counties who I won't name on the air because I don't know if they want me to. And they say they're like, yeah, if we catch somebody with weed, we just like, look, just put it away. We're not going to take it. So
those officers personally are kind of more just liberal on that. And they're like, you know what? It's cool. It's fucking weed. But you are saying it's still in Florida, which is my home. This is where I was almost my entire life.
Right.
But still in Florida. It's still like illegal as shit though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's shitty.
I mean, depending on which county you're in, you'll definitely get tied up and it won't be pretty. Polk County, I think, is the worst one for it right now. They're the ones.
Really?
Yeah, they're the ones that will. They'll post the images of the cops sitting there with one bowl on the table and be like, "They took this off." Like that's coming from Polk County, Florida. And
hashtag saving lives out here.
Right. Hashtag saving lives. No, you're not. You just put some poor kid in jail for this.
Right.
But
dude, you ever notice that the counties that have the highest like arrests and things like that for shit like this is because nothing else is fucking going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? These people, these guys just have nothing better to do. The same thing for when they go after you for fucking tickets, when they're crazy in like ticket numbers, because you ain't got shit else to do.
Right. I 100% agree with that. But recently Florida did legalize medical marijuana.
That's good.
A couple of years ago. But they wouldn't legalize smokable. It only had to be edible or vapable.
You can't smoke it?
Well,
so somehow there's a difference between putting your weed in the oven and then just putting a flame on the weed itself?
Yep.
That's fucking dumb, dude.
But Governor DeSantis recently overturned that, and now you can get flour at the dispensaries.
Hey, nice.
You know, there's not a lot of politicians that I like in this world. And I had a lot of doubts about Governor DeSantis, but he has been really he's been doing a lot of good things, like making smokable. And rumor has it it's going to be legalized soon. So
That's good.
Fingers
That's
crossed for all those who smoke weed here, and
that's good
because that's one
Even-
step. That's one
dude,
step
even-
closer to recreational cocaine.
You said you want to do recreational cocaine. What'd you say?
I just want recreational cocaine to be available.
To be available. Oh, okay. So when I get into this, I go back and forth like all the time because I'm like, okay, I do definitely want all drugs to not be criminalized if you are ingesting it or whatever, right? Whatever you put in your own body is whatever. However, I haven't fully decided on what I believe should be right as far as how you would sell that to other people, right? Are we saying that a 12-year-old can come in and buy cocaine? Or are we saying it's like alcohol where you have to be a certain age, you got to be 21 and then you can go in and buy so I don't really know that yet.
I don't know how much cocaine you've done. And I don't want to assume because that would be racist.
Today, how much I've done?
No, just like in general.
Generally, I'm on cocaine all the time.
Okay.
No. I've never done cocaine. Never done cocaine.
So I know how much cocaine costs.
Okay.
It is.
I'm not gonna ask you how you know that.
I used to do a lot of it.
I used to snort that shit by the pound.
Yeah. I didn't like cocaine. I love the way it smelled. So I know how much cocaine costs. If a 12-year-old has that kind of cash to be spending on cocaine, like good on that 12-year-old, really.
Dude, how much does cocaine? So when I see it like in movies, right? And I guess you typically do like a line or two. I guess that's normal. Like a line or two, I guess. I don't know. From what I see in the movies, that's what it is.
Right.
So for like a line, so let's say for like there's 2 lines that you see, how much is that shit? Do you think? If you had to guesstimate.
$20?
$20 for just those 2 snorts?
Well, yeah. So it's easier to think about it in grams. So a gram of cocaine is going to cost you somewhere between $80 and $100.
$80 and $100 for a gram, dude?
Yeah. 80
wow.
Yeah, $80 and $100, depending on,
That's a rich man's drug right there.
Yeah, it is. And that's but yeah, so we like 80 and 100 but if you buy in bulk, you get it cheaper. So like you'd be able to get
well, at least you get a bulk discount.
Yeah, so like you'd get like 3 grams for 180. So, it's always better to buy in bulk. The only problem is you never had cocaine left over the next day. So you had to find more money the next day. You're like, oh, I'm just going to get 3 grams now, and then that's going to hold me over for 3 days. No, you just did all 3 grams that night, and you needed it the next day. So, but yeah, I think there should be recreational LSD. There should be recreational ketamine, which we're getting closer to in Florida. It's weird.
No, yeah, absolutely. I agree that it needs to be recreational, but when you say recreational, what do you mean? Are you saying that it should only be available to adults? Because you told me that you said like, look, if a kid has whatever, but I mean, seriously, if a kid had access to, would you give a child access to cocaine?
Would I give a child cocaine?
If you were in charge of these laws?
No.
Okay. So we're saying that it's only available for adults then?
Well, no, the better question is, if you were selling cocaine, would you sell to a 12-year-old?
I personally wouldn't, but I mean, that's not to say that there aren't people out there who would.
Right. Well, I wouldn't. And if I found out somebody was, I wouldn't go and buy from them.
I don't know, man. So, okay, but you're still dodging my question. So you are saying that it should be available. Anybody of any age should be able to go in and purchase any drug. That's what you were saying, though.
Yes.
If it was available in a store.
Yes.
That's fucking crazy, man.
But I mean, that's going to be up to this. Like, I don't think drinking laws should be a thing. I think that should be up to the store owner, or to the bar owner, or to the store owner on whether or not they should be allowed to sell to somebody under the age of 21. Like, I know
that makes sense.
If I'm a bar owner,
yeah,
I don't want a bunch of 15-year-olds running around. I'd much rather cater to the 25 to 40 crowd because they have jobs, they have money, they're not going to act a fool. Like, I would rather cater to that crowd as opposed to having a bunch of 15-year-olders who get one beer, get sick, vomit everywhere, and cause a bunch of drama. I would assume, it's been a while since I've
That
seen a
makes
drunk
sense.
15-year-old.
That makes sense. And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I could possibly entertain that, because I mean, it just goes back to what we were talking about with the transgender cake or whatever. The free market's going to take care of these businesses anyway. So, if people, if businesses were dealing to 12-year-old children, the business probably won't be around for long. However, I already understand that. I'm just like, but if it's not illegal, if we're saying that it is legal, we're not saying it's just legal for businesses or for storefront businesses. It could be people out of their homes and things like that, right? So like, to the shady motherfuckers, I mean, my kid could just go around the corner to fucking Johnny's house and pick up a fucking gram. You know what I mean? And that kid not be in any type of trouble other than me breaking down his fucking door and murdering his family, for doing that.
Which is the same issue you run into now.
For what?
Like a 12-year-old could just go over to Johnny's house and pick up a gram.
Yeah, but they would be prosecuted if they found that person was selling to them.
Yeah, they'd probably be prosecuted equally if they found out they were selling to you.
Probably, but my point is though is that it still is illegal, and it is a deterrent. But no, I understand. Like, I get what you're saying. We leave it up to the businesses, just like. And that's why, again, like I go back and forth between conservatism, my more conservative views, and I try my best, for the most part, successfully, not to put them in my libertarian views. Like, look, I don't agree with this, but it should still be legal. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could possibly get down with that. I just got to think on it.
Yeah, and like one of the arguments I get into, especially when it comes to drugs, because like I think all of them should be legal. I see absolutely zero difference between somebody coming home after a long day of work and grabbing a drink and like having like a whiskey on the rocks or something like that, and somebody coming home after a long day of work and shooting up a needle full of heroin.
No. I no. If they want to do that, then that's all for them.
Exactly. I see zero difference. The difference between me drinking this 20-ounce delicious cup of kava from Grassroots and you smoking weed, exactly the same thing. It's how we both kind of take the.
This actually isn't weed. I'm smoking heroin right now.
Oh, good for you.
I found a way to smoke heroin.
I mean, it's really easy. You put it on top of weed and then you light it, and because I've done that too.
Oh shit.
I hope my mom's not watching this episode.
Grandma, if you're watching this, I apologize. Yo, so how many of these episodes have you had?
You are episode 34 of the Writer's Block. Of Muddied Waters of Freedom, we've had 100. Of My Fellow Americans, I think 33.
So you've had 100+ episodes. No one's come on and smoke any weed, huh?
Not that I've known of.
Do you get a bunch? Do you get mostly libertarians?
Yeah.
Really? That's interesting.
I've had people that I've known smoked weed immediately before coming on. But nobody's ever done it.
Do they give you that disclaimer? It's like, look, man, before we get into this, I am bombed as fuck right now.
No, there were times that we were like kind of hanging out. Show didn't start till 8. They got like, I used to do it in studio, and they would come over and we'd be hanging out, and they'd go outside and they'd just like start smoking weed while I was like smoking, and they're like, "Is this cool?" I'm like, "I don't care." You're the one coming on the air. I don't give a shit, man. Oh, and then Jason has 13 episodes of The Bearded Truth. I didn't want to take a guess at that. I had no clue.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, we've been around for 2.5 years now. I've been doing this show for 6 months, 7 months.
Are you personally like an anarchist, or would you consider yourself like a minarchist?
I'm a minarchist that is trending anarchist because my co-host is really convincing.
They do have some convincing things, man. My only thing with that is that it's hard for me to wrap my mind. Actually, it's almost impossible for me to wrap my mind around private courts, private prisons, not having a unified military and one separate militia. separate militias. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around that.
Right.
And I have talked with a lot of anarchists, man. And I go in, I'm like, look, I'm not even trying to debate right now. I just want you legitimately to convince me. Not like Steven Crowder, where he's like, changed my mind. He really doesn't want his fucking mind changed. I'm talking about for real. I need you. I want to be an anarchist. I want those cool ass, dope ass shirts that say anarchy. I want that.
Right.
But I don't want to be a poser. So, and they can never convince me to why that would work. And I'm just like, damn.
We need to get just like, instead of the A, have it just the M with a circle on it. And
exactly, bro. And I want that shit to look like a superhero symbol. I want that shit on all my shit.
All right. So I'm noticing in the background here, you have the Flash. Does that mean you're more DC than Marvel?
So no, that is just he's like in my top 3 favorite heroes of all time.
I noticed you got Spider-Man on the side of the head. So
I do. He's in my top 3 also. So we got Spider-Man, we got Flash, and then my other top 3 it'd probably be Ghost Rider. But yeah. So I would say that I like them both pretty equally as a whole.
Right.
But if we're talking about like movies, Marvel and TV shows, Marvel crushes, bro. So they fucking crush.
I'm gonna have to. Okay, yeah. So movies, yes. Movies they crush. DC movies, with the exception of the Dark Knight series.
The recent ones actually, Aquaman wasn't terrible. I thought that was.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Dude, did you like Wonder Woman? I know you like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I liked Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was good.
That shit was awesome.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean. So
Wonder Woman was good. I haven't seen Shazam yet. I really wanted to see that.
Bro, Shazam was great, and they had the reviews out, and they said that it was one of the greatest DC movies, and I'm like, they're fucking lying, especially because I hate child actors for the most part. I think most of them just blow. I think that they suck. So I don't want to go and watch this. When I watched it, totally blown away, bro. Totally blown away. It was a great film. It was really good.
So one of my favorite shows, one of my all-time favorite shows is the show Chuck, that stars Zach Levi, who plays Shazam.
I don't think I've heard Chuck.
Chuck?
I don't think I've heard of that.
Chuck is about a nerdy dude that basically works at Best Buy in the Geek Squad, except it's called Buy More and it's the Nerd Herd. And he gets a government computer downloaded into his brain and he becomes a super spy.
Oh, shit.
It is just nerdgasmic, everything about this show, because he's just this tiny little whiny nerdy dude who gets this computer into his brain and then he's trying to figure it out, and he's like really sensitive and kind of bitchy. And I'm like, well, I identify with that. I'm skinny and I'm bitchy. And I'm overly emotional from time to time. I love that show. So when I saw he was playing Shazam, I was like, I have to see this movie. And
so he is the that guy in that show is also the guy who does play Shazam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was okay. He was okay.
He jacked himself up for that movie because
so he doesn't really look like that because he's all the skinny dude and everything.
Well, that's what he used to look like. He showed workout photos of him. Like he definitely did the work to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely bulked up, and he was like, because everybody was like, oh, he's wearing like a muscle suit under that, and so he took a shirtless picture, and he's like, no, I'm at the gym 6 hours a day preparing for this role. Screw you.
Right.
But
dude, that's kind of like Captain America, bro. Like the guy who plays Captain Chris Evans.
Yeah.
I remember, and people didn't even remember that he was in Not Another Teen movie. Yeah. And I was like, dude, that's the guy from Not Another Teen movie, bro.
Yeah.
And that he was like the first Johnny Blaze. Yeah. Terrible fucking series. And so when he was cast as Captain America, I was like, this dude isn't that big to play Captain America. He's like typical in shape, but he's not big.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I saw him come out and I saw the movie, I was like, bro, he fucking swolled up like a mother. He even talked about it. He was like, dude, for me to get this big, I had to eat like skinless, tasteless boiled chicken. Like I had to eat so much of that every day. And he just packed on put in serious protein, and he just packed on hella weight, dude.
I've always wondered, and Chris Evans is great as Captain America. Captain America is my favorite.
He is Captain America.
He is Captain America. But I'm always going to wonder how John Krasinski would have been, because John Krasinski, it was between him and John Krasinski from The Office.
Really?
Yeah. And I always wonder, like, because I love John Krasinski, and he does have that all-American kind of...
Which one is John Krasinski?
Jim.
No way.
Yeah.
You're saying he went out for Captain America?
Came in second.
Dude, is he even in shape, my guy?
Well, now he's Jack Ryan on that Amazon show. Like he got Jack.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
that
no,
yet.
he has definitely started working out and he's bulked up.
Okay.
Like when he was as Jim in The Office. No, he wasn't.
Right. He looked like you do now.
Wow.
No, not in a bad way. I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like, he looked like thin as shit. You know what I mean? Like, he not who I would think of as Captain, freaking America.
Right, exactly. But I never would have thought Chris Pratt would have become Star-Lord. Like he was the fat dumpy guy on Parks and Rec, and then all of a sudden he's like,
That's true.
Now I'm jacked.
That's true.
So like, I could see it. I could definitely see.
Dude, the things that these actors can put themselves through. What was that? I forgot that one movie with Christian Bale, and it was right before he was about to become Batman, Insomnia or something, where he like lost like 60 pounds or some shit. Oh, he was like skin and bones.
The Machinist.
Yeah, exactly.
The Machinist.
He was like skin and bones, bro. And then, like in under a year, he got himself back jacked up to play Batman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I was like, it's impressive, man, what some of them can do.
Yeah, and then he gained all that weight in order to play Vice President Cheney in Vice. And then he gained all the weight. Like that dude just like right now. I think he recently said, "I'm done doing the massive weight changes," because that's got to be just hell on your body.
Dude, that's super taxing on your body.
Gotta be.
Talk about taxation as theft. There's super taxation on that body for that, man.
Right, exactly.
I don't think I could do it. But also, they do have the best resources. You know what I mean? They have the best personal trainers. They can afford them. They have, I don't care what any of these people are saying. They're going and getting surgery done. They're getting their fucking afternoon lipo or whatever. So they do have way more resources to get that done.
Yeah, that's accurate. Like it's gonna be easy for Tom Cruise to be jacked out of his mind when you've got $10 billion to get jacked out of your mind.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. I remember the first time I was watching a movie and Tom Cruise was doing stunts and I was like, man, all right, Tom, like you definitely work out. Like I ain't gonna lie,
dude. Tom Cruise does like most of his stunts, and he's almost 60 now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's impressive. Yo, Tom Cruise. I just found this out like 2 or 3 years ago. You know that this dude is like 5'6" or some shit.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like mad short, bro.
Yeah, he's about 2 or 3 inches shorter than me, and he's got that tooth in the middle of his head.
What tooth?
Have you not seen this?
No,
man. I'm gonna tell you about this, and you're only gonna be able to see this from now on. When Tom Cruise smiles, he doesn't have 2 teeth that like a left front tooth and a right front tooth.
Yeah.
One of them is in the dead center of his face.
Nah, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Really?
Yeah. And Google it after the show. And whenever you look at it, you're going to be like, that's all I see now.
That's all I see. I got to check that out. That's hilarious.
Yeah. He's got 1 tooth right in the dead center. Some of the comments is like Tom Hardy from Star Trek to Bronson. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's big.
And he got jacked in for The Warrior too. That was a great film.
Yeah.
But yo, so when you're talking about weird celebrity things, you ever see Megan Fox's thumbs? You ever see those? Yeah, you ever see
those
her
weird
little nubs, bro?
Those weird nubs that it's like they cut off just right above the knuckle.
When she came out in Transformers, when I first saw her, I was like, this chick is one of the most beautiful chicks I've ever seen. And someone told me, was like, bro, have you seen her fucking thumbs? I was like, nah, what's wrong with her thumbs? And I Googled them and I was just like, ah.
Right. Yeah. One of my buddies, I was like, man, Megan Fox is hot. He goes, yeah, I just can't do it. And I was like, how can you, what? She looks amazing. He goes, yeah, her thumbs. And I was like, who has a thing about thumbs? And then I Googled it. Yeah, that's weird. It looks like both of them got cut off just a little too low.
How explicit can I be on the show?
However explicit you want.
Okay, so I can only imagine, like, I have this super fine ass chick, and we're about to get crazy, and then she puts her fucking, she grips my wee wee there, right? She's gripping my thing, and then all I see is that thumb. I see that fucking thumb. I'd be like, yo, I think we need to try something different. We need to try something different.
She's just using her strong hand. I'm just doing my strong hand. I'm just gonna get that with my strong hand.
But I want to be very clear. I want to go on record. Megan Fox, if you ever see this video, I am still 100% down to get with that. I'm cool with that.
See, and I don't know if I would anymore because she's gotten a lot of work done and she doesn't look like Megan Fox anymore.
She does, dude, because everyone is trying to look like a Kardashian. You ever notice
yeah,
that? Everyone wants to look like a Kardashian. And we know what's fucked up about the Kardashians is that Kim Kardashian, before she got all this work done, I thought she was way more sexy than she was. Easily. I thought she was just she was one of the most naturally beautiful people I've ever seen. And I was like, she's fucking like gorgeous. And then she got all this work done and she still does look good today, 100%. But I'm just like, you didn't need that.
Right.
You did not need that.
Like what? I don't know their names because I'm a heterosexual.
Because I'm a heterosexual man. I have not seen an episode. I know that Kylie Jenner, the youngest Jenner.
Is that the young one?
Yeah, she's not the one who is secretly a guy but dresses as a woman. The
one that won the decathlon.
You're right. She's not that one. Dude, she's fucking incredible. She's super super hot too. And she had this thing where there's this thing going around on the internet, and this is just how fucking stupid people are, especially millennials and these new Gen Zers or whatever. They were like, yo, if you want to get Kylie Jenner lips, you just have to put your mouth in some kind of suction thing.
Oh, like and then when you vacuum?
Yeah. And then you pull it for a couple of seconds. Then when you pull it out, you get these lips. Dude, there were these motherfuckers that were having like super fucking infections and all kind of shit trying to get these fucking lips. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, you deserve that.
You absolutely. That. I've had a thing for Kylie Jenner ever since she solved police brutality with a Pepsi. And
what did she do?
There was a Pepsi commercial with like a bunch of people who were protesting the police, and the police were standing there with riot gear, and Kendall Jenner walks up through the crowd and she just offers one of the police a Pepsi, and everybody cheers as he drinks it, and it's like, yay, she solved police brutality. And ever since then I've been like, man, if you can solve police brutality with a Pepsi,
she's the one.
She is the one.
That's funny.
Yeah, I used to date a girl that was really into the Kardashians and stuff. And I didn't get it. I was like, all right, well, yeah. And like after a while, because I had to watch because it was on, I was like, well, yeah, Scott's a dick. But
right. You get sucked into it and then you can't even, you know what I mean? Dude, I got that way. Everyone also has their, they're just, what do you call it? The things that they don't want other people to know, like their little caveats.
The guilty pleasures.
Yeah, guilty pleasures. Pleasures. Okay, so I didn't watch the Vampire Diaries for a little while, but I'm super into sci-fi, horror, vampires, werewolves, all that shit. So I'm super into it. But I was like, this is some love story ass shit. I'm not watching that, dude. Someone put me onto it, and when I watched it, I was just like, this shit's kind of hot, bro. Like I saw this shit's kind of hot. So that's one of my guilty pleasures, man. I couldn't help it. Vampire Diaries.
And the only reason I'm going to admit this is because one of the only people in the world who know this about me is watching right now, and I don't want him to out me in the comments. But one of my guilty pleasures is like cheesy teen rom-coms, or not even rom-coms.
Like what?
If it's got Mandy Moore in it, I've seen it multiple times.
Wow, bro. Mandy freaking Moore.
I know A Walk to Remember by heart.
That is crazy. Yo, she used to be super hot back in the day, though.
She's still super hot. Like,
I haven't seen what she looks like now, but that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's fair. Years ago, I was living in Tennessee. I was living in Nashville, and I was working at this restaurant. And at the time, Mandy Moore was married to Ryan Adams. And Ryan Adams was playing in town, and I was really upset that I didn't get a chance to go see it because I was a huge Ryan Adams fan. Yeah, now he's like sexually harassed me. I don't know. I don't care. His music's still good. But
I don't care how many women that he violates. His music is dope.
Right. I like his music. So I'm at work, and a bunch of people were getting ready to go to the show, and I was like, yeah, have fun. That's cool. And I get a table, and I get Mandy Moore and her brother. And
they're sitting right there?
Yeah, I'm waiting on them.
Wow.
And I'm like walking up to the table and like she gets an iced tea and they got pizza and because it was a pizza place. And I'm like sitting there and I like run to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm waiting on Mandy Moore to one of my friends. And he's like, you have to ask her out. I'm like, she's married to Ryan Adams and I can't steal Ryan Adams, girl. Because apparently, according to his songs, that's happened a lot. And
it's like you just don't want to contribute to that.
right. I don't want him to write a song about me.
Right. Especially is like, I'm the guy waiting on Mandy Moore. So if I'm the guy who steals your girl. Then,
right. Exactly. But yeah, I was like freaking out because in the entire time, I just wanted to quote, it's a walk to remember to her and be like, hey, I really loved you in that movie. A walk
Did you act like you didn't know her?
Yes.
You did? You did that? You act like you didn't know her. Bro, see, I'm not with that. My thing is, and I've had debates on this too. If I see a celebrity that I like, you chose that spotlight. That's the profession that you chose. You get zero fucking privacy, right? So like if I fucking met Eminem is like if I could ever meet Eminem, man, that'd be the most awesome thing that could ever happen to me. If I was going into a men's restroom and M is in the restroom, right at the far end of the urinal row, and I would sit there and I would wait for him to be done. I'd be like, yo, man, I'm gonna wait for you to be done, but I'm gonna need that selfie with you, bro. I huge fan. I might never ever get to see that guy again.
He literally has a song talking about that.
He does, and I'd be okay with it.
Right.
I would be okay with it.
Eminem is the only song.
He was actually talking about me in the
right.
song.
Yeah, exactly. Eminem is the only person that I have ever done on karaoke.
They have M on karaoke?
Fuck yeah.
What did you do?
Stan.
You did Stan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you sing it too?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
wait,
awesome.
the Dido part?
Yeah. Did you sing
No,
the
I didn't
Dido
do
part?
that. I always got a girl to do that part for me.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just did the Eminem part. And like I had the bleached hair and like the short bleached hair.
So you actually look like one of those Slim Shadys that he talked about.
Right, I looked like Stan.
You were Stan.
Right, I was Stan.
You were Stan.
Like I would have gotten Eminem tattooed across my chest back then.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, Casey, my buddy Casey Plott says Mandy Moore and Shane West make an amazing on-screen duo, which was a pickup line I used on a girl once.
That's funny.
We were at a Starbucks, and I was like, Mandy Moore and Shane, and I said it to a friend of mine. I said, Mandy Moore and Shane West make an amazing on-screen duo. And she turned around, she goes, excuse me, were you talking about A Walk to Remember? I said, yes, I was.
That was me.
Yes. But yeah. Casey's laughing because he knows about Stan. He's seen me do it. Not many people have seen that. Not many people I still talk to have seen that. So what do you have coming up for the Super Effin' Dope podcast?
Well, we just launched our first. So all of my previous videos were all on like politics and stuff like that, and then I linked up with this chick who's super into it also. It's hard to find fellow minorities that are a little bit more on the conservative side or not just democratic side, because they have 90% black vote. So when we linked up, I was like, oh shit, so you're a little bit more moderate, you're conservative, and she's super into politics, and we got into it. And I was like, yo, we got to make an episode. We got to do that. But she was like, yo, we should make an episode before that. We should go over something that's not like just relationship deal breakers. And we did a full podcast on relationship deal breakers, and it was fucking hilarious. It was so hilarious. Top of my list. Raunchy fingernails, and I talk about that. I can't deal with chicks that have raunchy fingernails.
Okay, define raunchy.
Okay, raunchy is fucked up. Those are nasty, grimy, gritty, dirt under the nail, chew down to the bone ass fingernails.
See, now I can't do the fingernails that are way too long with like all the different designs and shit on it. Like I'm like,
how long?
I mean,
you're talking about the ones that curve?
Yeah, well, definitely that. But like,
so you're talking about the black nails? You can't do those. You can't do those black hairdresser nails. I would have gone Hispanic, but yeah, we can call it black nails. Okay. So like when she closed her fists, her fingernail can't be also reaching down to like right here in her wrist. Exactly. Right? Can't do that. Okay, got you. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not with that either. But yeah, if I see some dirt under your nail or anything like that, I immediately think you're a crackhead. So I can't mess with you.
I normally guess you're a crackhead if you're missing teeth.
Missing teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good indication. Also,
Right.
Good indication.
I mean, and just from my experience from crackheads,
Right.
usually teeth are missing and pock marks all over
You know
the
what?
face.
All of the crackheads that I did get blowjobs from were toothless, so that does make sense. JK. Grandma, turn this off.
Whew. I was going to try to come up with a joke after that, and I was like, man, there's nothing I can say to top that. That's just too good. So where can people find your podcast?
Yeah, man. So we're everywhere. That's super effing dope. So Facebook.com/super effing dope. Twitter.com/super effing dope. Instagram super effing dope. So yeah, man, definitely check us out. It is pretty awesome. But if you are if you're easily triggered, you'll probably still watch us because people hate watch even more. So
Right.
You'll definitely watch us if you're easily triggered.
Yeah. People love people love to be triggered. You can't say that. It offends me. Okay, real quick. Okay, two things real quick. First of all, since I have known you on Facebook, your name on Facebook has been Tyler FOURTWENTY 420. Tyler 420. Yeah. Recently, somebody got triggered by that, reported you, and you had to change it to your real last name.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, how much of a lonely piece of shit do you have to be to care about what my last name is on Facebook to report it?
Right.
Like, how lonely of an individual do you have to be? So, and of course, Facebook obliged. Of course, Facebook was like, "Oh, sure, yeah. If that offends you, then we have to take that away."
Right.
You know what I mean? So oh man.
And then right before the show, you and I were talking about how now certain police departments. I just want to get your opinion on this. I'm going to give a real quick explanation to anybody out there watching / listening. Police departments all around the country are starting to have mobile police blood draw units. So if they believe that you are drunk or high when they pull you over, they will get what is known as an e-warrant. They'll like fill out the paperwork on the computer, send it in, a judge will sign off on it, and then they will have a truck pull up, and then you have to go into the truck and have your blood drawn, and you don't have a choice.
That is unfucking constitutional.
Right.
That's what that is.
Yes.
That shit is fucking crazy. First of all, what makes these police officers who, from what a lot of Americans have seen, don't even know what a threat is. They're shooting unarmed motherfuckers, both black and white. You know what I mean? So like,
and then when there is a threat, they're not going into the school to stop it.
Right. Exactly. When there is a threat, they're just like, you know what? I'm not going in there. What exactly makes them experts to know what drug I am potentially on?
Right.
You can look at me and be like, you know what? You're on LSD. No, you know what? You're on anthrax. You're on anthrax now. So like, what gives them this just crazy intelligence on looking into someone's eyes and knowing exactly what they're on? Come on, man. That's just unconstitutional as shit. It's giving people giving police the authority of unlawful search and seizure. You know what I mean? So like, it's BS, man.
I mean, it turns into fucking DNA collecting.
That's crazy, right? And then they're probably cloning me. They're probably fucking cloning me in the back.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. If they want to clone me, go ahead. The world needs more of me.
Yo, did you ever see that? There was a Family Guy episode where Stewie learns how to clone himself. So he clones himself. Or Brian comes into the room and he sees Stewie is like super dumb and not being able to answer questions and shit. And then the real Stewie comes out. It's like, oh, this is my clone, Brian. I cloned him. And he's like, well, why is he fucking stupid? And he's like, oh, well, I couldn't have him competing with me. So I had to, this is, he calls him bitch Stewie. So he's like, this is bitch Stewie. He's got like a fucking 50 IQ.
Oh, Brian. Oh, Brian. This is my clone.
Bitch Stewie.
Bitch Stewie. Bitch Stewie. Yeah. Well, no, dude, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, man.
More mats. We need more mirrors. Yeah, I'm fucking narcissistic as hell and love looking at myself. Okay, real quick. We may as well just keep this going. I was working at a diamond store in Alaska last summer, which is a weird sentence to say anyway. But like we had the mirrors set up all over the place for so people could see what they look like with their necklaces on and all that kind of crap. I didn't sell a lot of jewelry, but what I did learn is if I stood in one particular place, I could see myself in 7 different mirrors. So that was my spot. That was where I stood all day long. And my friends would come over that I was working with, and they'd be like, "Why do you always stand here?" And I was like, "Because I can see me there."
That is the most narcissistic shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
I can see myself from every angle.
I can see myself from every angle. I know exactly. I know exactly what I look like on all sides from right here.
Right.
And they're, what is wrong with you? Nothing.
That's hilarious.
My life is perfect. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody go check out the Super Effin' Dope podcast on anything.
Check it out, man.
Anything that says any social media, Super Effin' Dope.
Super effing dope. Hey man, I appreciate it. Definitely check us out. We are pretty hilarious. Matt, you're funny as shit too, man. I enjoy being here. I enjoyed being the first toker on the podcast.
Yeah,
yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Beautiful. No, thank you so much. Everybody else, remember, my buddy Casey says, I love Thai 420.
Appreciate it.
Everybody else, remember, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Muddied Waters of Freedom. You can follow us on Instagram at Muddied Waters of Freedom. You can follow us on Twitter at Muddied_Waters. And you can find this, you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Muddied Waters Media. And you can find this and every episode of Muddied Waters Media at muddiedwatersoffreedom.com. Tune in tomorrow for Mr. America, the Bearded Truth. And I totally forgot to cue up the music. Hang on a second. I'm just going to keep talking for a minute. And Ty, hang out for a minute, and I'll talk to you afterwards. And everybody else, have yourself a fantastic weekend.
I am swinging from a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10-by-7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, 'cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, la, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. Singing, hey, hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help.